चैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकथा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरो वैष्णवंश श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबंधु जगत्पते गोपेशा गोपिका कांदा राधा कांदा नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी श्रीराधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये पांचकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यः एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिने नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशधारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा. So Nectar of Devotion basically deals with our sadhana and how we can improve our devotional services, right? So it is a gem of the book by Rupa Goswami, and this book is like beyond our understanding ability, because that's why Prabhupada said that only first 19 chapters has to be learned by us. Beyond that, we can't digest it, because so much is there in a Nectar of Devotion to really understand the deeper meaning of bhakti. As sadhakas, as sadhana bhakti, we can try to know the first 19 chapters, but when you go beyond it, it is too risky to understand the concepts, because that's really for a bhava stage or a prema stage of devotees. Can you all of you see the screen?
Yes, Mataji.
Okay. Yeah, so we'll start. Srila Rupa Goswami Pad Ki Jai. So Nectar of Devotion, that is Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, chapter 11 to 13. So we'll just have a quick overview. Rest you have to read, okay, because Nectar of Devotion is basically reading, not much to explain. It's basically how you try to understand the concept. All glories to Shri Radha Govinda. Okay. So through Srila Prabhupada, it's easy to understand. Okay, so chapter 11 is aspects of transcendental service. Okay, the service which we do, the devotional service, the 9 types of devotional service, starting from Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, all that, and any service for that matter, what we do to Krishna is transcendental. What is the meaning of transcendental? Can you put in the chat? What do you mean by transcendental? What is the real meaning of transcendental? Yes, so service is transcendental. That means spiritual, divine, yes, but what is the real meaning? Yes, that is another synonym for that. But then transcendental meaning is, yes, Dinesh Prabhu got it right, beyond the material aspects, that is above the 3 modes. Transcendental means above the 3 modes. Sattva, Rajas, Tamo Guna, above that, that is Shuddha Sattva Guna, that is transcendental. Now the term is spiritual or divine, but then transcendental means above the 3 modes. The 3 modes can't touch the service. That's why chanting the holy name, doing devotional service is transcendental aspect. So what is the aspects of transcendental service? We'll see item 47 to 53, servitorship. So there are 5 primary relationships with Krishna. Does anyone know what are the 5 relationships with Krishna? I can unmute everyone. What are the 5 primary rasas with Krishna?
Mataji, it could be Vatsalya.
Yes.
Shanta, Dasya, Shakya, Vatsalya, Madhurya.
Very good. Who are the devotees who worship the Lord in Shantaras? Shanta means neutral, no? Neutral. So cows, very good. Cows. Then Ananta Shesh.
Flute.
Sant Kumar brothers.
Sanat Kumars, very nice. Yes, the Kumaras. What about Dasya?
Hanuman.
Then Sakya?
Arjuna.
Sudama. Valsalya? Madhurya.
Radha.
And the gopis. Radharani and the gopis is Madhurya Rasa. Very nice. So these are the 5 rasas with the Lord. There are secondary rasas, right? 7 secondary rasas like Raudram, Bibalsam, Bhayangaram, Albudha, all these are secondary rasas. So primary rasas and secondary rasas. So the primary is servitorship, dasyam. We all start with that, dasyam. Then there is friendship or sakyam. There is surrendering everything to the Lord is Atmanivedan and offering favorite article. Okay, so that is dasyam, sakyam, atmanivedanam. That is surrendering. These are all different things, but servitor, dasyam and sakyam comes under the primary rasas. Okay. So here it is said that karma arpanam, that is offering all the activities to the Lord or serving in a personal, as a personal attendant to the Lord. Okay, kind karyam. So karma arpanam is nishkama karma yoga, what we do. The fruits of the occupation we are offering to the Lord. So the karma will be there, and it is not actually pure devotional service or sadhana bhakti. It is not pure. Pure devotional service means Anyabilashita Shunyam Jnana Karmadharabdam Nanukulena Krishna Shilam Bhakti Uttama. No other desire except to serve the Lord. That is the pure devotional service. So this is like karma mishrita bhakti. Okay, that is we are doing. Some are doing. Then there is 9 main activities of devotees. That is Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam. Not on proclivity, but what Krishna desire. This is pure devotional service. We are doing it for Krishna. What pleases Krishna. That is pure devotional service. Okay. So pure devotional service is no other intention except to please Krishna. Sometimes there are 4 kind of devotees who surrender to Krishna. No, initially, who are they? Bhagavad Gita says 7th chapter.
Artho Artharthi
Jigyasu and
Jnani. Very good.
Jnani.
So Chadurvida Bhajante Mam Janasu Bridinojana Artho Arthato Jnani Jityasu Bhadadarshapa. Right? Chaturvida Bhajante Mam Jana Supridinarjana Artho Jityasu Artharthi Jnani Jabhadadarshapa. So there are 4 kind of people who surrender in the initial stage. But as they advance, that is sadhana bhakti. Then there are Vaidhi sadhana bhakti and Raganuga bhakti. So Vaidhi sadhana bhakti is we are practicing devotional service under the instruction of a spiritual master. Then as we advance, there is spontaneous love for the Lord. There is Raganuga bhakti. Then there is Bhava bhakti, Prema bhakti. So as we go to that stage, the pure devotional service comes. That initially we are worshipping Lord for money, to get out of distress, for all that things. But as we advance, then what happens? We'll do it just to please Krishna. That is pure devotional service. So there's a deeper concentration in the mode of servitorship, right? There's liberation even within the material world. So liberation doesn't mean after death. That's just to get moksha mukti. Liberation can be attained even in the material life. How? The pure devotees, they're already liberated. Prahlad Maharaj is already liberated. Shukadeva Goswami is already liberated because their consciousness is so high. Right? So we'll see the Dasyam Bhav. So serving as a Dasya. Okay, so Hanuman. For Dasyaras, the best example given is Hanuman. Then for Sakya, it is the Gopas, the Arjuna, Sudama, Subal, Madhumangal, all the friends of Krishna. In which rasa did Balram serve Krishna? Which is the Balram comes under which of this category? Shanta or Dasya or Sakya or Valsalya or Madhurya?
Mataji. Sakya.
Correct. Then only Sakya? Valsalya, correct. Then
All 5 rasas.
all 5 rasas. Charu Mataji, right? Yeah, all the 5 rasas. Okay, Balram serves in all the 5 rasas. Balram is the mridanga of the Lord. Balram acts as the flute. Balram is the peacock feather. Balram, anything which is decorated to the Lord is Balram's expansion. So in that way, Balram is in Shantaras. Balram goes with the cowherd boys and plays with Krishna. He is in Sakyaras. Balram massages Krishna's lotus feet when he's tired. He's in Dasyaras. When Krishna is outside, going to Govardhan, Yachudamaya says, Balram, you are Dauji, you are elder brother, take care of your younger brother. So in that it's Valsalyaras. Then he also become one of the Manjari. I think Ananga Manjari, some Manjari he becomes, and he is also in the Rasa dance. So in Madhurya. So Balram serves Krishna in all the 5 rasas. Okay. So here it is said about the cowherd boys, they are Krita Punya Punja. Ittam Sadam Brahma Sukhanubhutya Dasyam Gatanam Paradevatena Maya Shritanam Naradarakena Sakam Vajaur Krita Punya Punja. Krita Punya Punja. The cowherd boys are so fortunate. Shukadeva Goswami says, because they're playing with Krishna. Krishna carries them on their shoulders. How much fortunate they are. So that's in Sakyaras. The cowherd boys, having accumulated the result of pious activities for many lives, were able to associate in this way with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. How can one explain great fortune of the cowherd boys, right? So, but Sakyaras is different in Vrindavan and outside Vrindavan. You can see what is the difference. Can someone say both are Sakyaras? But what is the difference you feel about the cowherd boys and Arjuna? Is there any difference in the Sakyarasa? Or there's no difference? Yes, Shreya Mataji.
Arjuna accepts Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead at some point of his time, but Vrajvasis does not accept due to Yogamaya.
Very nice. Yeah. So they say then when Krishna lifts the Govardhan hill, Arey, you are not lifting Govardhan hill. We will help you. And they'll, with the cowherd boy stick, they will support. And when Krishna showed there's the any wonderful activities, dance on Kaliya, they're like, oh, you are slipping, you are protected by Vishnu. So they don't want to know Krishna as God. Krishna also don't want to reveal he's God in Vrindavan. Yogamaya covers them. Otherwise, how will Yashodamaya run with a stick behind Krishna? So in Vrindavan, it's Shuddha Valsalyaras, Shuddha Sakyaras. Nothing is mixed there. But when Krishna showed the universal form, what happened to Arjuna? Arjuna was the friend initially. Then he said, Krishna, you're the Supreme Personality of Godhead. From Sakyaras, he came to Dasya Bhav. So it is mixed. Aishwarya mixed Sakyaras is happening outside Vrindavan. But in Vrindavan, it's pure Shantaras. I mean Sakyaras. Okay. So this is what. Once he saw the universal form, he like, oh Krishna, I'm sorry. I called you Yadava, Krishna, hey Saka, please forgive me. And then he started becoming he was a friend. Initially he was ordering Krishna, place my Radha. But after that, he's like, Shishyastame ham shadi mam tom prabannam, make me your disciple. And after seeing universal form, he's like Param Brahma, Param Dhama, Pavitram Paramam Bhava. So the rasa is disturbed there. But in Vrindavan, nothing. He can't prove he's God. They never believe he's God. They don't want to believe because they love Krishna as the cowherd boy. So that's a sweet rasa. We're not saying that Arjuna is lower or anything. No, it's just mixed. Outside Vrindavan, the rasas gets mixed. Okay, but in Vrindavan, it's a sweet rasa. What about Valsalya Bhav in Vrindavan and outside Vrindavan? Is there any difference in Devaki Mata's rasa and Yashoda Maya's rasa? Yes. Charu Mataji, you were answering last time. What do you think? Any difference? Is there any rasa?
Devaki Mataji was having with awe and reverence because when she
Yes.
first saw Krishna with 4 hands, they
Yes.
bow down to Krishna with awe and reverence. But
Yes.
no, it's not like that with Yashodama.
Yeah, in Yashoda Maya, you can see when she saw the universe in the mouth, she was like, the whole Yoga Maya covered, and she's like, what? He didn't eat mud, he ate the whole universe. And then she completely forget, right? And she ran with the stick behind Krishna. But yes, there, when Krishna appeared as Chaturbhuja form, Devaki Mata, instead of hugging his son, she just came to kind of a Dasya Bhav. And also when Krishna killed Kamsa and came back, again, she was in kind of Dasya Bhav. So there also it's Aishwarya mixed rasas, but in Vrindavan, Shuddha rasa. Okay, so Vrindavan is definitely special. So the friendship of Sakyam is Krishna is a well-wishing friend for everyone. Bhoktaram tabasam sarvaloka maheshwaram smrutam sarva bhutanam jnatva mam shanti mrichati. 5th chapter 29 sloka of Bhagavad Gita says Krishna is our only well-wishing friend. Only because friends in this material world can betray you, cheat you, but then Krishna will never do that, right? And he also can be a confidential peer to you. So Draupadi depended on Krishna for protection. She said, Krishna is my well-wisher. And preachers is Krishna's well-wishers and want to increase his pleasure. I'm Krishna's well-wisher. So you can see both the difference. So a preacher, Prabhupada says, they want to glorify Krishna. They want to give Krishna to everyone. So in that way, preachers want to glorify Krishna. So confidential prayer is very intimately associating with the Lord, no formalities with the Lord. So devotees may lie down in the temple also. You can see great devotees, they don't care about anything, just they want to serve Krishna, right? No other formalities are there. So that is about friendship or Sakyaras. So we saw how the Sakyaras is so dear to Krishna, that Krishna love his friends and devotees, right? Next is, so we saw the 47th limb was Dasya. Then we saw Sakyam or friendship. The 49th limb is surrendering everything to the Lord, Atmanivedam. Give an example of a devotee who did Atmanivedam. You can put in the chat. Write the chat to me. Who is a devotee, for example, did Atmanivedam? That means complete surrender. Yes, right answer. No, who is the devotee? I want the devotee's name. Who? Prahlad is not Atmanivedam, he is Smarana. Yeah, I'm getting nice answers. Bali Maharaj, very good. Bali Maharaj did Atmanivedana, complete surrender. Okay, that's Bali Maharaj. So Atmanivedana. So what do you really mean by Atmanivedana? Your body, mind, and words should be surrendered to Krishna. So it is sold out as an animal to the Lord, and no worried about his maintenance. And even Yamunarjuna also prays the same thing. Abandon all type of self-concepts and is identified in favor of Krishna's servant. So this is what Atmanivedana is, complete surrender. Actually, the term surrender have a lot of meanings. It's not easy. When we say I'm a surrendered soul or I'm surrendered, we didn't actually surrender to Krishna, because surrender, the term surrenders explained by Hari Bhakti Vilas is and anukulena sankalpa pradikulyasya varjanam rakshishyat iti vishwaso gopitrete varanam tata atmaniksheva karpanye shadvita sharanagati. So sharana means 6 aspects of sharana. First is accepting what is favoring to Krishna consciousness. Yeah, we lose our identity in surrender, but we don't lose the identity. There is the individuality there, because a green tree and a green parrot entering into a green tree, that doesn't lose the identity. That is the Mayavadism. But the identity is there as a servant of Krishna. This identity is Gopi Bhaktur Badakamala Dasa Dasanu Das. You have your identity as Krishna's servant. Okay, there is an identity. Mayavadis, they merge with the Lord and they become one. We doesn't want to become one with the Lord. We want our individuality. There is identity, but the identity is that I'm your servant, Krishna. Okay. So first is accepting what is favoring to Krishna consciousness. Next is rejecting what is not favoring to Krishna consciousness. Then rakshishya didi vishwaso. That means avashya rakshibe Krishna. Whatever situation in life comes, Krishna will definitely protect me. That is the sign of surrender. Then gopitrete varanam tada, thinking that Krishna is your maintainer. Atmanikshebam, that is complete submission. Then karpani, that is being humble. These are the 6 aspects of surrender which was done by Bali Maharaj. Okay, so Draupadi depended on Krishna for protection. Why did Krishna give so much sari to Draupadi? Is there a story behind it? Does anyone know? You can unmute.
Hare Krishna Mataji. As I understand, I think when Krishna had an injury, she pulled out her sari, part of it, and tried to put a bandage. That time, I think he was
Yes.
taken over to protect her.
Yeah, so Krishna was, just polishing his sword, and Krishna is transcendental. There's no blood coming, but then just for the pastime, it started bleeding from his hand, and all the queens had started running for first aid. But then Draupadi was just next to her. She took her sari and she cut the sari and just tied on Krishna's hand. And Krishna's like, "You gave me a little bit of sari. Okay, I have to repay you." How you approach Krishna, Krishna reciprocate the same way. So Draupadi did so much and Krishna gave so much, right? So she was so much of a surrender to Krishna that she was in distress. Actually, she was in distress and she cried. She looked, all the 5 husbands didn't protect her. Dronacharya, Bhishmacharya didn't do anything. And then finally it was Krishna. So definitely when we are in trouble, when we look around our relatives, friends and family, nobody will be there really. It's actually Krishna who's helping us. Even if somebody comes for help, that is actually sent by Krishna. So Krishna is the real protector, not anybody. It is said by Prahlad Maharaj that medicines and doctors cannot save the patient. whichever part of the world you take, best doctors, best medicine, still the patient can die. So who is protecting? The parents are not the real protector of the children. Children's outside on the roads and traveling all over the world. Who's protecting them? And the boat is not a real protector for someone who's in the ocean. It's actually the Lord. So the Lord is the real protector. So we should know that is the sign of complete surrender. Yes, Krishna will definitely protect me. That's the sign of a devotee. A devotee have 100% confidence and faith that whatever situation comes based on my karma, Krishna will protect. The 50th limb is offering a favorite article to the Lord, and 51 is performing all the endeavor for Krishna. So both is related to surrender and being a surrendered soul, that is Sharanagati. So item 49 is in sense of renunciation, where item 52 is the sense of taking shelter and refuge of a superior. So we take refuge of the Lord. So Lord Narasimha also said, right, I will protect always if you take shelter of me. Okay, so the Lord will definitely protect if we take shelter. We have to. Krishna says, Sarva dharmam parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja. Aham tam sarva papebhyo moksheshyami ma shucha. Ma shucha means do not fear. But before that, sarva dharmam parityajya mamekam sharanam. We have to take sharana or surrender to the Lord. Then Krishna will completely take charge of his devotees. Okay, 53 is third limb is serving Tulsi Maharani. Tulsi Maharani is very, very important in our life. Serving Tulsi, we can advance in Krishna consciousness life. Consciousness. So definitely daily water Tulsi plant, do parikrama around her, offer obeisances to her, then pluck her and place it on Krishna's lotus feet. On Ekadashi, don't pluck Tulsi, and on Dwadashi also don't pluck her. Before that, the previous day, pluck it and offer to the Lord. Tulsi have lot of benefit. I mean, serving Tulsi have a lot of benefit for your personal devotional life. So by seeing Tulsi, just by smelling her, praying, bowing down to her, hearing about Tulsi, you get a lot of benefit. Why Tulsi is so dear to Krishna? It is said that Krishna doesn't accept anything without Tulsi because she's a pure devotee. Vrindaya Tulsi Devaya Priyaya Keshavashya. See, so pure to Keshava. Krishna Bhakti Prade Deve Satyavade Ramanama. She gives Krishna Bhakti to you. So that's why serving Tulsi is very auspicious, all auspiciousness. Okay. And Atma Nivedanam was done by Bali Maharaj. He gave everything to the Lord. Right? Even though Shukracharya told, don't go, this is the Lord Vishnu himself, still he rejected his own guru to go near the Lord. Now, sometimes you feel that, why did the Lord press Bali Maharaj and put him to Sutala Lok? Even though Krishna took everything from him, he gave himself to him. So we should know that. It's very difficult for one to surrender fully into the personality without being purified by devotional service. So first we should undergo the purification process. Why? When we chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra, when we're doing taking Ekadashi, when we're doing all the devotional service, we are getting purified from all the anarthas. When we hear about Krishna, Shrunvata Sakata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana Hrudendasta Abhadrani Vidinodi Suhrilsadam, all the abhadras, Kama, Kro, the Loba, Moha, Madam, everything will go and we get purified. Because if you have to go to a sun planet, you should become fire. Similarly, if you have to go to Krishna's world, you should become pure. We have a lot of anarthas coming from our 84 lakh species, previous janmas, so much sin in us that we need to get purified. So devotional process actually purifies you, right? So when we get purified, then we can surrender to the Lord. So complete surrender means unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the most auspicious path for the conditioned soul, because the Supreme Lord is the supreme object of love. If we completely surrender to the Lord, Krishna will take care of us. He says that, he promises that. But what is needed for that? Tatra laulyam abhimulya kevalam kodi janma sankridana labhyate. Rupa Goswami says, what is the qualification needed for devotional service? Pure devotional service in Krishna consciousness cannot be achieved by pious activities in hundreds and thousands of lives. It can be attained by paying one price, that is intense greed to obtain. Oh, I want to chant my rounds. I want to serve Krishna. That greed should come, not for material things, for Krishna. If you have intense greed, tatra laulyam, then you get Krishna. If it is available somewhere, one must purchase it without delay. So tatra laulyam abhimulya kevalam. That's the only price we need to pay to be in Krishna consciousness, that we should be greedy to serve Krishna. So chapter 12 is the further aspects of transcendental service. He explains Rupa Goswami explains about the further how to expand our devotional services. Let's see the limb 54 to 64. Hearing the revealed scriptures. Shravanam. How important is Shravanam in our life? It is very important, no? Who is the devotee who got perfection just by hearing about the Lord?
Parikshit Maharaj.
Very good, Parikshit Maharaj. So Parikshit Maharaj started hearing about the Lord in so much of concentration that he even forgot to drink and eat for 7 days from Shukadeva Goswami, right? So
Didn't sleep even also.
yeah, he didn't even sleep. He didn't sleep. And Shukadeva Goswami is transcendental. He's the Shuka, the parrot of the Lord, Radharani. But then Parikshit Maharaj also didn't eat or sleep or thirsty or anything. Because of the thirst, he got cursed by Shringi. Because he put a snake around Shamika Muni, he got cursed because he could not control his thirst. But now, after going to Shukadeva Goswami, hearing about Krishna for 7 days, he was just coming out of it. Devahuti, yes, Devahuti also heard from Kapila Muni, Kapila Dev, but she didn't attain perfection just by hearing. Okay, she was doing other devotional service as well. But Parikshit, just by hearing the 7 days, the Bhagavatam, day and night, 24 hours, he was hearing from Shri Goswami, got liberated. Okay, so hearing the revealed scriptures is very, very important for us. We have 2 years and 1 tongue to hear more. So seniors in Krishna consciousness, when someone say he's senior devotee, she's a senior devotee, what do you mean by senior? Not by your age, not by your anything else. It's by how much you hear about. It's not year, Y-E-A-R-S in Krishna consciousness. It's E-A-R-S, how much you hear about the Lord. Okay, year is seniors. So the more and more you hear about Krishna, you become more advanced in Krishna consciousness, fixed in Krishna consciousness. So hearing from the right source is also important. What is revealed scriptures? Revealed means it is not revealed to everyone. Scriptures remain guhyam or hidden for non-devotees. And non-devotee sees Bhagavatam as just one book. Non-devotee sees Vrindavan as just one material place. No, they can't appreciate. Prasadam is just one food. Charanamritam as just water. Guru as just an ordinary person. Tulsi as just a plant. No. But then it reveals, Swayameva Svuratyada, reveals only to devotees. So any book that enlightens on a bona fide path of devotional service is called a revealed scriptures. Otherwise, it's not revealed. Okay. So scriptures are Shruti, Pramana, and Smriti. You have to hear about the Lord. And how can we serve the scriptures? Does anyone know? Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam. How do you serve them? By? What are the ways you can serve the scriptures?
By reading, Mataji.
Reading, very good. Reading the scriptures, then what else you do with the scriptures?
By gifting, probably.
Gifting, yeah, you can gift the scriptures to someone. Then
Also worshipping it.
Worshipping, you do
Worshipping.
aarti to the, preaching and all that. So very good. So hearing the scriptures, reading the scriptures, these are all service. So if anybody of you have Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam in your house and you're not reading them, you're not serving the scriptures. You're doing aparad. That is an Shastra aparad or Seva aparad, that is. Okay, Shravanam, yes, hearing about the scriptures. So we have to serve the scriptures every day. Okay, so with intelligence we can serve, that is by remembering, by preaching and all that. With writing and persevering, that is reading and writing and all we can do. And arti, you can do worship the scriptures. Now there is Bhagavatam arti and all, sometimes we do. You can might be keep near a altar, or it might be in the shelf, you can do just like that arti. Or else reading is how you really serve, and hearing them. So which revealed scripture is the best? Definitely Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam Pramana Mamalam Yat Vaishnavanam Priyam. And it's the best spotless Puran. Why is Srimad Bhagavatam the greatest scriptures? Said by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Srimad Bhagavatam is the greatest scriptures. Why?
It is Krishna himself.
Very good, very good. Bhagavatam is Krishna himself. The first 2 cantos is what of the Lord? The first 2 cantos. No.
First 2
The
cantos
limbs of the Lord.
head.
Legs.
Sorry.
Yeah, the
just
first 2.
reverse.
Yeah,
Legs.
the first two lotus feet of the Lord. The 2 lotus feet of the Lord are the first 2 cantos. And 3rd and 4th is the thighs. Then 5th is the abdomen. Then 6th and 7th are the hands. 8th is the chest, and 9th is the neck. The 10th is the face. faces 10th canto, because in 10th canto, you see all the baby pastimes of Krishna in Vrindavan. So that's a sweet pastime, that's the face of the Lord. Then you have the 11th canto, which is the forehead, and the 12th is the head. So the first two cantos are the lotus feet of the Lord. So Bhagavatam is Swayam Bhagavan, Krishna himself, right? And Bhagavad Gita is spoken by Krishna, that's okay. But Bhagavatam is spoken about Krishna and his devotees, which is more dear to Krishna. So that scripture, because it spoke about Prahlad, it's spoken about Draupadi, and it's spoken about Dhruv Maharaj and Bali Maharaj. So many devotees, pure devotees of Vrindavan Vasis and everything. And Bhagavad Gita is just formal book. Krishna is inviting you to his office, but then Bhagavatam is inviting you to his home. So Bhagavatam is a spotless Puran. So these are about the scriptures. Then residing in Mathura, Dambas. There are 5 aspects of devotional service which you have to see in the next chapter. We will see the 5 important. Yes, and Vedavyas is incarnation of Krishna, who is Krishna Dvaipayana Vyas. Vedavyas have compiled the Srimad Bhagavatam, so definitely it's very, very glorious. Okay, so you have to try to read the scriptures or attend the Bhagavatam class, whichever language you like, so that you try to understand more about Krishna. So residing in Mathura doesn't mean you literally have to leave everything and go to Vrindavan and live. No, Vrindavan is also consciousness. Wherever you are living, that can be Vrindavan. Okay, wherever you're chanting the holy name, wherever you're hearing the scriptures and reading. Prabhupada created Vrindavan all over the world, because wherever a pure devotee goes, that's Vrindavan. He carries Vrindavan in his heart. So we have Prabhupada's book in our home. Definitely that can also be done as Vrindavan, right? So Bhavanam, it's called. The house is called Bhavanam. Why? Bha means Bhagavan or Bhakti. If you take off Bha from Bhavan, it becomes one. And in one, who lives? Animals live. eating, sleeping, depending. That's it happening. No devotional service, nothing. Like that is called Grihamedi. So we need to become Grihastas or Griha Ashrama. So residing in Mathura, if possible, when you're in a higher advanced stage, in a Vanaprastha stage, Sannyasi stage, definitely you can go to Vrindavan and straight reside. Otherwise, Sthane Sthita Shrudigadatana 1 minute. Wherever you're staying, whichever occupation you're doing, whichever family you have your duties and karmas. Wherever you are, carry out your material life. Along with that, chant the holy name, do devotional service. That's also glorious. Okay, Grihasthashram. So Varaha Puran, it says, other than Madhura, if attracted, will be captivated by illusionary energy. If you go to some other place, Maya is definitely there. But in Vrindavan and Mathura, the Lord is there. So, and in Brahmanda Puran also, it says, simply by touching Mathura, one can that if you have never gone to Vrindavan even once in your life, at least once, make it sure you go to Vrindavan, because it's a place where the Lord did his pastimes. You can see Yamuna, Govardhan, especially in Kartik month in Vrindavan, it's glorious. Okay, so those who drink through oral reception, fully filled with the nectarian message of Lord Krishna, the beloved of devotees, purify the polluted aim of life known as material enjoyment, and thus come back to Godhead, to the lotus feet of him, the personality of Godhead. So Srimad Bhagavatam says that just by hearing. Does anyone know the story of Gokarna and Dundukari? About hearing Bhagavatam, Gokarna, Dundukari? No? Never heard about such story? It's not in Bhagavatam, but it is related to Bhagavatam. No idea? Okay, if there is time, I'll tell it after the class. Just remind me. Otherwise, I'll just go somewhere. So that's a story where somebody heard Bhagavatam and got liberated. Okay, next is the top 5 aspect of our devotional service, the 5 limbs. Sadhu Sangha, Nama Kirtan, Bhagavad Shravana, Madhuravas, Sri Murti, Shraddhaya Sevana. The 5 things. Sadhu Sangha means association of devotees. One should associate with devotees. Nama Kirtan, you have to chant the holy name. Bhagavad Shravana, you have to hear Srimad Bhagavatam. Madhura Vas, we have to reside at Madhura, I mean the consciousness Madhura. And Sri Murti Shraddhaya Sevana, deity worship with faith and veneration. These are the 5 limbs of devotional service, which is out of 64 limbs, these are the 5 best limbs. Even a slight performance of these 5 awaken. So these 5s are seen in our morning program. So when you get up at 4:30 and come for Mangalarati, what are you doing? You're doing sadhu sangha, you're associating with devotees. I see around like 200 devotees joining for Mangalarti at 4:30. They come, they observe, even if it's online, still there is sadhu sangha. And now you have all come for the class, sadhu sangha, right? Some football matches happening, but still you came here and you're sitting for the class, sadhu sangha. So you know the importance of associating with devotees. Sadhu sangha, sarva shastra hoy, lava matra sadhu sangha, sarva siddhi hoy. So if you, all the shastra says that you have to associate with devotees, and lava matra sadhu sangha, if you associate even for a fraction of second, you get a lot of glory. So sadhu sangha. So at morning we are coming together for sadhu sangha. Nama kirtan. After Mangalarti, what are we doing? 5:15. Prabhupada's chanting is kept and we all start chanting. So Nama kirtan, every day we chant our rounds. Then Bhagavat Shravana. At 8 o'clock, there is 5:45 also short Bhagavatam class. 8 o'clock Bhagavatam class. We listen to the Bhagavatam. Shravana every day. Nityam Bhagavata Sevya, not like Saptah or something. Every day. Then Madhuravas. When we are all associating with devotees, attending Mangalarti, chanting the rounds, hearing Bhagavatam, there is consciousness is in Vrindavan. The consciousness is in Madhura. We are thinking about Krishna. So there is Madhuravas. And Sri Murti Shraddhaya Sevana. We are seeing the deity worship. So the morning program which Srila Prabhupada have made, it includes all the 5 devotional service. So if we do all these 5 every day, then it said you get love of Krishna. Sadhu Sangha. So associating with devotees, chanting the holy name, hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, associating deity worship, and Dhamvas or Madhuravas. Okay, these are the 5 main limbs. So Bhagavatam is very special because Srimad Bhagavatam Purana Mamalam Yat Vaishnavana Priyam. Vaishnavas who are somewhat advanced and who are fully aware of the glories and potencies of the Lord, Srimad Bhagavatam is a beloved Vedic scripture. Okay, so Bhagavatam is very dear to Krishna. How did Srimad Bhagavatam come into being? I mean, come, or what is the origin of Srimad Bhagavatam? Does anyone know what is happening in this picture? This is from the first canto.
She is being directed by Narad Muni.
Yeah, why? What happened to Vedavyas? Why is he? What is he
He
asking?
wrote all the scriptures, but he was
Yes.
not satisfied. So he prayed to Narad Muni, who was his guru, and he told him, since you have not described Lord's pastimes, so you're not satisfied. Then he inspired him to write Bhagavatam.
Yes, yes. Sonia Mataji, you had a lot of background music. Something coming. Okay, yes, Mataji, you're right. So what happened? Vedavyas, even though he wrote all the scriptures, he was not happy. And finally, his guru, Narad Muni, came, and Narad Muni is like, Vedavyas is Krishna himself, but still just to show us the pastime, Narad Muni is like, you didn't write about devotional service. You didn't write about Krishna's activities. So start writing the scriptures. And he started writing Srimad Bhagavatam, right? And after Srimad Bhagavatam was written, what happened? Who is Shukadev Goswami and how did Shukadev Goswami come, the son of Vyasadeva? Who was he originally? Shuka. Yeah, people have very short memory in Kali Yuga. Manda
Parrot
Sumanta
of-
Premanta.
Radharani's parrot.
Radharani's parrot. How did he come as Shuka?
Mataji, because he was hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam from Lord Shiva when
Yes.
Parvati slept, and then he kept on saying yes, yes, yes. Then Shiva was very angry when he noticed that the parrot was listening all the stories. So the parrot was chased by Shiva, and ultimately went into the womb and remained there for perhaps 13 years. Then half.
More than that, almost 16. Yeah, 16. He was 16 when he was,
So then that is how.
Yes, very nice, Prabhu. Dinesh Prabhu. Yes. So to add to it, yes. So Radharani have 2 parrots, Shuka and Shari. Okay, Shuka is the male parrot. So what happened? Normally, when some pastime of Krishna and Radharani has to happen, it's actually Vrinda Devi who decides the pastime, where the pastime should happen. So it's because Vrindavan, she is in charge of Vrindavaneshwari. She is Vrindavan. Vrinda means Tulsi. So Tulsi Maharani sets the pastime places for Radha and Krishna. But one day, Shuka, he saw one of the nice place, and instead of telling to Tulsi Maharani, he went directly to Radharani and said, Radharani, today I saw a beautiful place. You need to do the pastime of Krishna there. And Radharani is like, you have offended Tulsi Maharani. For this reason, you have to take birth in earth, in material world. And Shuga was so sad because Shuga has to leave the association of the Lord. But then Lord said, don't worry, Shuga, you're going to be my son. I mean, as Shukadev Goswami, you will come and you'll be reciting Srimad Bhagavatam. You'll be a liberated soul. Nitya Siddha, and then Mukta, and then you will be always associated with me. So Shuga was flying and coming to the material world. When the parrot was flying, he heard Srimad Bhagavatam in Kailas, as Prabhu said. Lord Shiva was reciting Srimad Bhagavatam to Mata Parvati. And Mata Parvati heard, and she slept. So, but then Shiva said that I should know that you're hearing. So you should always say, Always you should, say that then I know you're hearing. But then Lord Shiva, after he finished Bhagavatam, he saw Mata Parvati is sleeping, but somebody else is saying yes, yes, yes. And he saw it was the Shuga, the parrot. And Lord Shiva was so angry that he chased him. And then the parrot flew and then came to the material world. There he saw Vyasadeva reciting Srimad Bhagavatam to his wife Vatika. And she was like listening to the 10th canto, and she was like very surprised to listen, and her mouth was open. What happened? The parrot went inside her mouth, just to hide from Lord Shiva, and then she got conceived. In the sense, it's just a pastime so that he can come as the son of Vyasadeva. And then he stayed there for 16 years. He didn't come out. Just imagine, more than 9 months is all only a big thing, but then staying for 16 years in the womb of the mother. Why? Because he wanted to hear Srimad Bhagavatam by Vyasadeva. Vyasadeva could continue Srimad Bhagavatam, like Prahlad stayed in the womb of Kayadu. He was listening Bhagavatam. And then finally Vatika was in so much of distress that Vyasadeva called Bhagavan Krishna. Sri Krishna came himself and said, Shuka, don't worry, just come out. Just come out, don't worry, you won't be touched by Maya, I'll protect you. So the moment Shukadeva Goswami just came out, he was like a grown-up 16-year-old boy, and he didn't even wear a dress because he didn't have any bodily concept of life. And then he started running to the forest because he don't want to be caught by Maya. And Vyasadeva started running behind him. And Shukadeva Goswami went and hid in the forest. He didn't come back. Vyasadeva was so upset because his only son and he wants him to preach Srimad Bhagavatam. So Vyasadeva sent 2 disciples to get Shukadeva Goswami back from the forest. And he told them 2 slokas. These are the 2 important slokas of Bhagavatam, which Shukadeva Goswami heard. First is Barhapidam Natavarvapu Karnayo Karnikaram Vibradvasa Kanakakabisham Vaijayantim Chamala Randran Veno Radharasudaya Purayan Goba Brinde Vrindaranyam Sopadaramanam Pravishat Gita Kirti. So this is explaining the beauty of Krishna. So when Shukadeva Goswami heard this from the bushes, he's like, oh, so beautiful, I want to see that person. Barhapidam Natavarvapu Karnayo Karnikaram. Barhapita means peacock feather, so much of peacock feather on her head, and Karnayo Karnikaram, yellow flowers on his neck. Ganaka Kabisham, he was wearing yellow garment and with a shawl here on his waist. Vaijayantim Chamala, he was wearing a Vaijayanti garland. Randran Venor Atharasude, he was having a flute. Pure and Gopa Brinde, with the friends of Gopas. Brindaranyam, he was entering the Vrindavan. Swapada Ramana Pravisha Gita Kirti, with his bare foot he was entering. This is from Gopi Geet. Wearing a peacock feather ornament upon his head, blue karnika flowers on his ears, a yellow garment as brilliant as gold, Vaijayanti garland, Lord Krishna exhibited beautifying it with the marks of his footprint. He filled the holes of his flute with the nectar of his lips, and the cowherd boy sang his glories. So this was the sloka which Shukadeva Goswami heard. So when he heard it, he's like, who can be so beautiful like this? I'm having some internet issue. Okay, so who's so beautiful like this? I want to see that person. Then Shukadeva Goswami is like, might be that person is externally beautiful, not internally. No, I don't want to see him. Then the next sloka came. Aho bhagiyam stanakala kodam jijam sayapyaya adasati labe gatim tatri chitam tatonyam kamva dayalum sharanam rajeme. Again from Bhagavatam, it is said, Aho bhagiyam. Baki is the sister of Bakasur and Akasur, who's Putana. Baki is another name for Putana. Aho Bagiyam Stanakala Kudam. Oh, the Baki, the Putana, she put Kala Kuda Visha on her stana, on her breast, and came to give poison to Krishna. But what did he do? Labe Gadim Datri Ujitam Tadonyam. Because Krishna drank the milk of Putana, even though she's a demon, he gave the position of mother. Labe Gadim Dhatri. Dhatri means mother. Uchitam Tatonyam. Kamba Dayalam Sharanam Raja. Who can be so merciful like this? Somebody come to kill you and you make her your mother. Means so merciful like Krishna is. And then Shukadeva Goswami heard this sloka. He was like so moved. He came out and he said, asked the disciple, who compiled these verses? I want to see this person. Who is this? And they said, nobody, your father only. Come back home. And they took him back to Vyasadeva. So, alas, how shall I take shelter of one more merciful than who granted the position of mother to a she-demon Putana, although she was unfaithful and she prepared deadly poison to be sucked from her breast. So Krishna is so glorious that just by hearing the Bhagavatam verses, Shukadeva Goswami came back home and heard Bhagavatam from his father Vyasadeva, and later on told it to Parikshit Maharaj. And then Parikshit Maharaj, you know how it started, right? How he was thirsty, and in the forest, Shamika Muni was meditating, and he didn't mind Parikshit Maharaj because he was in meditation. Then he put a dead snake around Shamika Muni, and his son Shringi cursed Parikshit Maharaj that in 7 days you will be died with the bit of a snake, Takshak. And later on, he left everything, went to the banks of Ganges, and then heard Bhagavatam from Shukadeva Goswami for 7 days and 7 nights and got liberated. So that's how Bhagavatam. So Bhagavatam is so glorious that just by hearing Srimad Bhagavatam in the right sense, from the right source, if we hear submissively, definitely all the anarthas will go and everybody get liberated. Because Srimad Bhagavatam is the best scripture we can ever have, and it says Nikamakalpatarur Galidam Phalam Shuka Mukadamritatrava Samyutam Pibada Bhagavatam Rasamalaya Muhur Aho Rasika Bhuvi Bhavuka, right? Nikamakalpatarur Galidam Phalam. Bhagavatam is the ripened fruit of all the Vedic literatures. It's the best fruit. And Shuka Mukadamritam. What happens to a fruit when it is bitten by a parrot? Anybody knows? What will happen to the fruit?
It becomes more sweet. It is the sweetest fruit on that tree.
Yeah, sweetest fruit, right? Similarly, the Shuka or the parrot, the Radha of Radharani, Shuka have said this Bhagavatam, so it became more sweeter. Bhagavatam is sweet because it's spoken about Krishna. But since it came from the mouth of Shukadeva Goswami, who's like a parrot of Radharani, it became more sweeter. And it is said that the best fruit in the tree will be bitten by the parrot because it knows. And the scientific aspect is that there's a pectin covering, and because it's broken, the sweetening is fastened. But then how did the parrot know that is the sweetest fruit? No? So that means the fruit that is bitten by the parrot becomes more sweeter. Similarly, since Bhagavatam came from the mouth of Shukadeva Goswami, it became more sweeter. And Pibata Bhagavatam Rasama, you can just drink it. Like there is a mango without a peel and a seed inside. What will you do? You can just swallow it. That means nothing to throw out of it. So similarly, Srimad Bhagavatam, nothing is to be thrown out. Everything is so sweet. You can just drink it. Even liberated souls like Shukadeva Goswami and Lord Shiva enjoy Srimad Bhagavatam because it's for Paramahamsas. So we are so fortunate that we have Srimad Bhagavatam by Srila Prabhupada. Just take advantage of it. O expert and thoughtful men, release Srimad Bhagavatam, the mature fruit of the desired tree of Vedic literature. It emanated from the lips of Sri Shukadeva Goswami. Therefore, this fruit has become even more tasteful. Although its nectarian juice was already relished for all, included liberated souls. Even liberated souls can enjoy relish Srimad Bhagavatam. What about conditioned souls like us? But Bhagavatam has to be read every day. Nashtaprayesha Petreshu Nityam Bhagavata Seveya Bhagavate Uttamasloge Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Nityam Bhagavata every day. Not like, because how will you understand Bhagavatam, which is like 12 cantos, 18 volumes, in a few days? No, it's not possible. So every day you should hear Bhagavatam. A regular attendance in class on Bhagavatam and by rendering the service to the pure devotees, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed. And the loving service unto the personality of Godhead, whose praise with transcendental song is established as an irrevocable fact. So by regularly attending Bhagavatam, what will happen? Our heart is completely purified, and then we get love of Godhead. Okay, we get loving service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So that's what it is explained, that Srimad Bhagavatam is such a sweet nectar. And when on the days of Srinivasa Acharya, a few years back, so many years, like 500 years back, Bhagavatam is not to be found. Like they have to search and handwritten Bhagavatam copies. Nowadays, it's just available in Veda base. You can just click and then Veda base. It's available at home, any website, any temple. But then we're not reading it. We're not using it, taking advantage. Srila Prabhupada have given his life and soul to Srimad Bhagavatam. Translate from 12 a.m. at midnight till 4:30 a.m. And we're not using it. With this human form of life, what are we doing? Now we read newspapers, magazines, just like waste now. But then we don't read what is needed. So we should cultivate the reading habit. I request all of you, at least 5-10 minutes every day, read one slokas, one paragraph from Bhagavatam. It will definitely help you so much. So we should have eagerness to hear about Bhagavatam from the right source. Then we can advance very easily. So next limb is serving the devotees. So definitely Vaishnav Seva is very, very important. Superior to even worshipping of Krishna, right? Krishna you can worship, but then serving his devotees is more glorious. Real devotee of Krishna, it is said that we serve the devotees. They are liberated from material condition. Just by remembering the devotees, we get purified. What to speak of the serving them. So we remember Srila Prabhupada because of his disappearance day today. Just by remembering the devotee itself, we get glorified. What to speak to serve Prabhupada. How can we serve Prabhupada? By preaching this cult, by reading his books. It frees us from ulterior motive and false pride. When you start serving devotees, all the pride in you will go away. So we have to serve according to our financial position. Not like we can't arrange a big feast for all the devotees. But then whatever we can, small way, Vaishnav Seva can be done. Then observing Kartik festival. Now we are doing Kartik festival. We do Damodar Aarti every day. Then sing the Damodar Ashtaka and then chant your rounds. Now take vratas, everything. So this is special among all the festivals because it's the month where the Damodar Leela happened and Krishna is more happy this month, that it is said any devotional service done in this month of Kartik, it's like 100 times more. So you have to increase your round, kirtan, hearing about the Lord, specific worship of Lord Damodar. Dama means rope, Udara means abdomen. So he has been bound by the rope of love by Yashoda Maya. Is worshipped and the result is multiplied many times. It's even more potent when celebrated in Mathura and Vrindavan. That's why devotees run to Vrindavan. It's so crowded. But I was fortunate once to celebrate the whole Kartik month in Vrindavan. It's very glorious to be there. It's a little cold, but then Yamuna will be like full of diyas and there'll be a lot of devotees doing Vrindavan Parikrama. It is so much of devotional service and so potent in Vrindavan if you do devotional service in Kartik month. But if it's not possible, that's okay. So observing festival, celebrating lots of activities like you do Janmashtami, Gaur, Purnima, all that we do. So observing the festival has to be done. Possible at home, birthday celebrations and all can be done, or in the temple. One become pleased to the Lord. We can please the Lord. In 60 to 64, the 5 potent ways by which Baba can be revived in a neophyte. So what are the 5 most potent devotional service which we discussed? What are the 5 things?
Mataji, Sadhu Sangha,
Nama Sankirtan.
Then thereafter Bhagavad Shravanam.
Shravanam of Bhagavatam.
And then
Mathuravas
and deity worship.
Yeah,
deity worship.
Deity worship, very nice. So I hope all of you have small deities at home. If you don't have deities, at least to keep a picture of Krishna and then worship, do Aarti and all. So first is Sadhu Sangha. You have to associate with devotees. Then you have to chant the holy name, hear Srimad Bhagavatam. Then do deity worship and Madhravas. Okay, these are the 5 potent link by which we can revive our consciousness. So serving the deity can also be done, which is the highest benefit. Krishna has come in a murti form to you. So it not just give liberation, but it gives prema bhakti also. Okay, then reciting Srimad Bhagavatam can be done. You can recite or you can hear Srimad Bhagavatam. It's a ripened fruit of all the Vedic literatures. The importance of parampara also we should know, because it should see there is a ripened fruit in the top of the tree. There's a like very sweet mango, very ripe, and there's no peel outside, there is no seed inside. So you just throw a stone or try to put it with a stick, it will get smashed, everything is destroyed. But if there is a person on the top of the tree, pluck the mango, give it to the second person give to the third person, then finally it hands off to your basket and you get it into your hand, you can taste it, relish it. Similarly, so Bhagavatam is a ripened fruit of Vedic literature. It has to come through the parampara, right? It has to Tene Brahma Hridaya Adi Kavi. Krishna instructed to Brahma, Brahma to Narad Muni to Vyasdev, Vyasdev to Shukadeva Goswami, and it comes in a parampara to Srila Prabhupada. That's how you should accept Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay, so the most ripened fruit in the tree of Vedic wisdom, and sweeter when touched with the parrot beak of Shuka. Shuka is the parrot of Radharani. And must carefully pass this fruit from tree top. That is the parampara system. That's why evam parampara praptam imam rajarshiyo vidu. So Krishna also says it has to come in the parampara way. Yes, Rajalakshmi Mataji, what is it? I can take questions towards the end if possible.
Okay, Mataji.
I don't lose the flow, okay? Okay, those who want can leave after that. That's fine. We are already late. Associating with advanced devotees is very important. We have to associate with devotees, okay? Pure devotees if possible, like through their books, Vani Seva can be done. We have to associate. Otherwise, Krishna consciousness is dry. How much your car can go without fuel? It will get stuck one day. You have to keep putting fuel. So this fuel of devotional service is association. So if you don't have association, then devotional service is dry. We can't advance much. We think that I don't want Bhakti Riksha groups, I don't want class, I can advance myself. You won't be advancing. There is nothing like stagnant devotional service. You don't stay stagnant. If you're not advancing, you're going down. We are going down. So we can check ourselves whether we are advancing or not, right? So we have to associate with devotees. Otherwise, we won't be advancing. Somewhere we'll be caught with Maya. So it is said, like a crystal stone, that Hiranyakashipu heart will reflect what we associate with. So if we associate with flower-like devotees, heart becomes clear. So Hiranyakashipu associated with all the demons, he also became the demonic mentality. But Prahlad associated with Narad Muni, and he became like a pure devotee. So it's the potent feature, is a potent man, or in the sense a pure devotee can deliver us from all this material bondage. Okay, so this the deliverer of Srimad Bhagavatam, women is able to be the recipient of bhakti is born. It is said that when bhakti has to be born, it has to be associated with devotees. Chanting the holy name has to be done. So these are all the 5 limbs of bhakti. That is sadhu sangha. 5 important limbs is sadhu sangha, that is associated with devotees. Then the nama smaran, or nama chanting, or kirtan, chanting the holy name, which is the topmost goal of our life. And we can associate with Krishna just by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, because Krishna will dance in your tongue. You're associating with Krishna. There's no difference between name and Krishna. Nama Namini, there is Abhedane. There's no difference. Krishna, if you call, that's the name, that's the person himself. But I'm chanting for so long, why I don't feel the highest goal achieved? That's because we are not getting the higher taste. Param Drishta Nivartan. We still have some material things bonded. All of us are like that. We are all contaminated. But then, as we have sincere desire to chant more and more advanced, because we are doing Nama Aparat stage. Okay, we have to reach to Nama Abhas and Shuddha Nam. They said, Ada Shri Krishna Nama Dina Pavitrahim Indriyam. At first, senses can't perceive Krishna, but name itself will gradually reveal Krishna. Ada Shri Krishna Nama Adi. First is the name, then form, quality, and past time. Nama Rupa Guna Lila. If you want to know the Lord, then Sevan Mukhehi Jihvada. You have to start serving the Lord with the tongue by chanting the holy name, take Krishna Prasad. Slowly it will come. We see bhakti needs a lot of patience. You should not feel like, oh, I'm chanting Hare Krishna mantra, I'm not advancing that like that devotee. We both came to Bhagavad Gita level 1 course together. That person has already become a preacher, a teacher, she's teaching or he's teaching, and I'm still stuck. No, never compare your spiritual life with anybody's. We don't know what we have done in our previous life. Those people would have done some Ajnada Sukriti. Devotional service is never discontinued. It's continuous from previous life, right? You all have reached 16 rounds chanting. It's not a small thing. It's a big thing that you have done so much sukritis in your previous life. That's why you're chanting and you have reached this level 3. So why are you comparing others' life? Everyone has their own journey towards Krishna consciousness, and we should have a lot of patience. Utsaha nishya dhairya tat karma pravartana. It said you should have a lot of patience for devotional service. Not like say 2 days I chant and become a pure devotee. So we should have a lot of patience, but pray for the mercy. Krishna will reveal. So we have to associate with pure devotees. ISKCON is a factory of pure devotees. All you have to do is stay on. Only concern is to remain in ISKCON and associate with devotees. Prabhupada says you have to be alive in Krishna consciousness. That's it. And one day will come where Prabhupada will give his mercy. So Krishna Kirtan means just like we perform Kirtan with whole Kartal, that's also Krishna Kirtan. To write books, that is also Krishna Kirtan. To read books, that is also Krishna Kirtan. So Kirtana means reading, writing and all that. So Lord does not say that one should give up his prescribed duty or engagement, but can continue them and at the same time think of Krishna. Mama Nismara Yuddhaja by chanting Hare Krishna. This will free one from all material contamination and engage in the mind and intelligence in Krishna. By chanting Krishna's name, one will be transferred to the supreme planet Krishna Loka without doubt. Jai Gauranga. Living in Mathura, so we saw the 5 limbs: Sadhu Sangha, associating with devotees, chanting the holy name, hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. Next is living in Mathura. Mathura Vas. In the list of 64, Mathura Vrindavan is mentioned 4 times. Why? There is specific emphasis is done. Why? Because you can see here, visiting holy places like Dwaraka, Puri and Ganges is very benefiting, and briefly visiting the temples can be done. Exclusively Mathura and Vrindavan. Why? Because Vrindavan is so special. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Aradhya Bhagavan Vrajeshataniya Tadhama Vrindavana. So because as you worship Krishna, you have to worship Vrindavan also. Vrindavan is more special. Why? When you compare to Mathura and Dwaraka, Vrindavan is more special. Is everyone sleeping? Why
Because
is
a lot of pastimes took place.
Because of the
Vrindavan.
Radharani and Sri Krishna's pastimes.
Yes. How is it different from Ayodhya? Ayodhya also Lord Ram's pastime took place, na? Is there
It was
any?
directly bought from the spiritual abode.
Ayodhya is also like that. Any Mathura, Dwaraka, everything is like that, directly from the spiritual world.
Lot of demons
Mataji,
were
Ayodhya
killed.
has Aishwarya Bhav also. Vrindavan has only.
Yeah, that is one reason. Pure Madhurya, and there is Aishwarya mixed. Demons, Prabhu and Lord Ram also killed so many demons.
During his childhood, I said, Mataji.
Yeah, childhood only, but something related
Because
to
of the
childhood past.
devotees. Because of the devotees' unconditional love for Lord Krishna.
Yeah, that is also there. But then, as Prabhu said, there's something related with the childhood pastime. What did Krishna specially do in Vrindavan, which Lord Ram didn't do?
With Radha Rani and
That's okay. Yeah.
Makhan Chori.
Not Makhan, something else he ate.
Govardhan Leela.
What did Krishna eat in Vrindavan?
The mud.
Oh, mud.
So
Yes,
he tasted the mud of Vrindavan. Did Lord Ram taste the mud of Ayodhya? No. So it is said, just a joke side, it is said that Vrindavan is so more special because Krishna ate the mud of Vrindavan. And definitely Lord Ram also started walking barefoot when he went for Vanavas. Krishna also was not wearing slippers in Vrindavan. So the lotus feet, the signs of the feet is there. But then Vrindavan, especially because of Radharani, that's one thing. Second thing is so much pure Madhurya Ras, no Aishwarya mixed there. And Vrindavan is so special in that way. Exclusively Madhura and Vrindavan, especially living there and serving in various ways. So definitely unparalleled ability of Mathura and Vrindavan to be awakened in Bhava Bhakti. In outside Vrindavan, in Dwaraka and Mathura, Krishna has a crown. He has this jacket thing, and also he wears shoes. No, but in Vrindavan, he has a peacock feather, flute, and the cowherd boy in Vrindavan. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Aradhya Bhagavan Vrajeshatani, and Vrindavan it's more special because Krishna is not God there. He's not God there. He's just a sweet boy, Vrindavan Brajavasi boy there. So that's what makes it more special. To sacrifice everything and chant this mantra and go to Krishna. because it's Kali Yuga. Nobody is reading, no cultivation of Vedic mantra. So in this age, the mantra is called Maha Mantra. Chant Hare Krishna. That's all. All Vedic mantras are now gone to hell. Nobody can properly chant the Vedic mantras and take benefit out of it. But this mantra, if you chant neglectfully or properly, chant Hare Krishna, the result is there. Therefore, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Kalo nashteva 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 gadiranyada. Kala Hare Nama Hare Nama Eva Kevala. There's no alternative, no alternative, no alternative in this Kali Yuga. So this Vedic mantra, okay, now we have holy names, very important. Okay, the last chapter, the 5 potent forms of devotional service. I already discussed this. Association with devotees, chanting the holy name, hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, Madhuravas, Adamvas, and so the 5 potent forms of devotional service. First is associating with devotees, then chanting the holy name, then hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, Madhuravas, and deity worship. Okay, so these are the 5 forms. Yeah, so 5 potent forms of devotional service. You can see Shri Radha, Shyam Sundara Vrindavan. How beautiful they look. I mean, just see how the devotees decorate them. Now, because Pradima Nahi tu Sakshal Vrajendra, it's not just a stone or a deity, it's Krishna himself. How we approach Krishna, if you see him just as a marble stone, he reciprocates the same way. But then he's not like that. In Vrindavan especially, Radharani is so merciful. So what are the 5 forms of devotional service? Satsanga, Namakirtan, Bhagavad Shravana, Madhuravas, and Murti Seva. Very important, okay? So all of you should know these 5 forms, and we should check whether we are doing this every day. So we have to associate with Premi Rasika Acharyas, the great devotees, serve them, taking instructions to progress ahead in devotional service. We have to do the congregational chanting of the holy name. We have to hear the Bhagavad scriptures about divine couple Shri Radha and Krishna from Vani, the words of the Acharyas. Then Madhuravas, residing in Madhura Dhama, Vrindavan Dan. One can also reside in Mayapur Dhama, Puri, which is not different from Vrindavan. It's not possible for all of us. Wherever we stay, make it Vrindavan. Then deity worship of lordships can be done. So it is said by Rupa Goswami says that if you don't want to, if you want to enjoy with your material friends, then don't see Krishna. My dear friend, if you still have any desire to enjoy the company of your friends within this material world, I mean the non-devotees, then don't look upon the form of Krishna who's standing on the bank of Keshi Ghat, a bathing place in Vrindavan. He's known as Govinda, and his eyes are very enchanting. He's playing upon his flute, and his head there is a peacock feather. His whole body is illuminated by the moonlight in the sky. It is said that if you want to enjoy material life, then you don't have to see Krishna. Yeah, Dinesh Prabhu, I'll take the question towards end. That's a nice question. Okay, so here we can see the 5 forms of devotional service. So here we can see which will invoke bhava. So deity worship has to be done. If you have a desire, then says that we don't have to see Krishna. But then if you see Krishna, then your material life is closed. How many of you agree with me? As you do devotional service, your material friends circles gets cut. Nobody start associating with him because you talk about Krishna, you talk about devotional service, and they don't like it. And you start taking Krishna Prasad, and your whole things change, your whole life change, and your circle of friends change, your taste change, your everything changes. So, but then don't worry. Even if you feel isolated in the family, from relatives, from friends, you're becoming more close to Krishna. The more you become away from relatives, friends, and family, the material people, you become more close to devotees, more close to Krishna. So don't worry about that. That's what we need at the end. That's all there. So you have to do deity worship every day, offer patra pushpam palam toyam to the deities and serve them, offer bhog and all that, indirectly poetically telling us to see the form of Krishna, because when you do deity worship, you're seeing the beautiful form of Krishna, you're touching the Lord, and you are offering everything, you're doing a lot of service to Krishna, which will lead to indifference from the material world. Then in Bhava Bhakti, it leads to, definitely when we are doing sadhana, later it leads to Bhava, when you serve the deities. Then hearing Srimad Bhagavatam has to be done every day. Foolish friends hear Srimad Bhagavatam and will deride the 4 goals of life. They say Artha, Kama, all that. So That's not the real thing. We need to hear Srimad Bhagavatam, the 4 pillars, no, dharma, artha, kama, moksha, including liberations. But bhakti is above liberation. When you do bhakti, liberation is byproduct. So there is moksha lagaukrata. Lagaukrata means moksha, liberation becomes insignificant for you. Initially, our goal is to get moksha and all that, but then as we do devotional service, our aim is not to get moksha, but to get pure devotional service. That is seen in the bhava stage. Okay, so we have to hear Srimad Bhagavatam every day from the right source, like through Srila Prabhupada Acharyas. Moksha Lagagruta is the riding of liberation is a symptom of bhava. Rupa Goswami has stated the 5 kinds of devotional service, namely residing in Madura, worshipping deity, reciting Srimad Bhagavatam, serving the devotee, that is sadhusanga, chanting the mantra, are so potent that small attachment to any one of these can arouse devotional ecstasy, even in a neophyte, even if we have just started devotional service. And it is said, Shri Vigraharadana Nityanana Shringaratan Mandira Marjanadam Yuktasya Bhaktam Shani Unjatopi Vande Guru Shri Charanaravindam. So when we sing Guru Ashtaka, it is said the spiritual master engages in temple worship of Shri Shri Radha Krishna. He engaged the disciple in such worship. They dress the deities in beautiful colors with ornaments, clean the temple, perform other similar worship to the Lord. I offer my respectful obeisance under the lotus feet of such a spiritual master. So the spiritual master engages in devotional service. Okay, so one must be situated in pure devotional service before we release Srimad Bhagavatam as it is. But now it's not possible for us to be in pure devotional service right now. So as we hear Srimad Bhagavatam, we become pure and pure. As soon as one is fortunate enough to contact a pure devotee, one must be anxiously immediate to hear about them, about Krishna, to learn about Krishna, in other words, to become fully Krishna conscious. So the 4 Kumaras, how did they become devotees? Simply by smelling the tulsi, the lotus feet of the Lord, right? So they were Brahmavadis before, but in Shantaras, but later on they became devotees by smelling the tulsi. Bilamangalam Thakur simply heard about Krishna, immediately gave up his beautiful girlfriend and started out to Madhura Vrindavan, where he became a perfect Vaishnava. Later on, Bilamangalam Thakur became pure devotee, that he says, Mukti Mugaladanjali Swayam Sevaya Rasmi. Mukti Devi is just standing with folded hands on my door. I don't want Mukti also. So just by hearing about Krishna, we become pure. So Srila Prabhupada, how much he ever written, struggled to write Srimad Bhagavatam. If you know the real story, how Prabhupada struggled, then you will really value this scripture. There are unlimited benefits of organizing and attending Srimad Bhagavatam Katha. The prime result is that if a person is hearing attentively, he can attain pure love of Krishna. One who gives up full attention and unflinching faith in the Supreme Lord. By carefully hearing, even materialistics and non-devotees can become free from all bodily attachments, including false ego. Such freedom enables one to become fearless in the face of death. Lord Chaitanya highly praised Bhagavatam, calling it spotless Purana. Aradhi Bhagavan Vrajeshitaniya Taddama Vrindavanam Remya Kashit Ubasana Vrajavadu Vargena Ye Kalpita Srimad Bhagavatam Pramanamamalam Prema Pumarto Mahan. He says Srimad Bhagavatam Pramanamamalam. It's a spotless Purana. You can't see a spot, in the sense nothing defective in Bhagavatam. Next is associating with advanced devotees. You have to see Krishna. Since seeing Krishna, there is tears, shivering. Seeing him, I can't remain at home. So pure devotees can, whenever there is association of devotees, they come out. They don't just remain there. So advanced devotees, they cries and shivers. These are all high stage of bhava when they hear about Krishna. There is intense eagerness to serve, and symptoms of bhava is also virakti. Later on, you will learn different stages of bhava. There is avyarta kalutam. They don't like to waste their time, and they have all these symptoms, the ashta satvika symptoms, that they cry and they feel goosebumps when they hear about Krishna. Virakti, and Preeti Satvaspi Sale, they like to stay where Krishna did his pastimes. All that is in Bhava stage. Avyarta Kalata means not a moment is wasted. So they associate with devotees and they don't waste their time. Next is Harinam Sankirtan, chanting the holy name has to be done. Narad Muni sings the glories of Krishna accompanied by Veena strings, entering my heart and am bereft of all attachment. He says, Narad Muni Bajaya Veena Radhika Ramanakai. So he is singing about the Lord. So Narad Muni always do Kirtana. Hearing Narad Muni's Kirtana, causes bereft of all attachment for material enjoyment. That is also a symptom of bhava. So there is virakti. So constantly, Harir Namaiva Kevalam, we have to keep chanting the holy name. So we are saying about the 5 limbs, important limbs of bhakti. The last is living in Mathura. Krishna says, I remember the Lord, the Prabhu Goswami says, I remember the Lord in Yamuna. Birds chirping gives me a lot of bliss. Simply remembering Vrindavan, one quickly evoke bhava. What is stage of speak of actually residing there? So we can just remember Vrindavan. That's also glorious. So mental realization of one's Swarupa Siddhi. Okay, we have to see which is our Swarupa, or what actually who we are. That occurs in a bhava stage. So, but Srila Prabhupada says something about it. Srila Prabhupada have built ISKCON on the 5 pillars. That is chanting the holy name, hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, associating with devotees, deity worship, and Madhura Vas. The Srila Prabhupada has built ISKCON in these principles. There is lavish deity worship in all the temples. I bet you go to Vrindavan, there are 5,000 temples in Vrindavan. And when I went, in every temple where I went, I could never see Radha Krishna as beautiful in ISKCON. I'm not saying ISKCON is great or others are not devotees. They are also great devotees. But the elaborate deity worship which I saw, so much of garments and nice ornaments, and every day they change, and there's so much of flowers used to decorate the deities. Lavish deity worship. So much prasad, and I never saw in any other temple except in ISKCON, because Srila Prabhupada has sent the high standard of deity worship. So that's there in ISKCON. Then what about daily Srimad Bhagavatam class? Any part of the world you go, if there is 8 a.m. The standard time in that particular place, London, India, wherever it is, if there is 8 a.m. of that particular place, there is Srimad Bhagavatam going on. So 24 hours, if it is night here, there's morning in America. So they'll have Bhagavatam class now. Then, so that means every 24 hours, somewhere Bhagavatam class is going on in the whole the world. This is done by Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada set this example, whichever temple it is, except small temples, Namahattas, they don't have Bhagavatam class. Every temple will have daily Srimad Bhagavatam class. So that's the second limb is achieved. Associating with devotees, by going to temple, what are we achieving? No, by as coming in online, we are associating with devotees. We make a lot of friendship. We don't even meet each other, but still we know each other for a long time. That's because of Srila Prabhupada. He gives us association with devotees. Big festivals like Janmashtami and all are celebrated so that devotees can associate. We become friends. Then Nama Sankirtan, morning and evening, the chanting is still going on. Every part of the world, 24 hours, Nama will be going on. The vibration keeps going on. And Prabhupada introduced the chanting for us. And yearly festival, it happens in Mathura and Vrindavan. People go for Kartik, they go in Gaura Purnima for Mayapur. All that traveling to the holy places, the yatras happens in ISKCON. We organize yatras. Why? So that we can go to that place and reside there for at least 1 or few days, and then gain the spiritual strength. So these 5 pillars is exclusively seen in ISKCON. So don't worry, we are in the right track. Just stay in ISKCON, be active in ISKCON, as ISKCON is the most potent for evoking Bhava. So we are all in the safe track, and just keep continuing. Prabhupada says, if you study Srimad Bhagavatam perfectly, then all your education is complete. You don't require any other book to read. You get from Srimad Bhagavatam all material and spiritual knowledge. And at the end, Krishna, that is the prophet. So Srimad Bhagavatam is very, very glorious. And just by reading Srimad Bhagavatam, we can achieve Krishna Prem. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Okay, sorry for the late class. You can all leave. Those who don't have question can leave. Hare Krishna. So my question of Dinesh Prabhu is no mention of Radharani in Srimad Bhagavatam. That's a nice question. Prabhu, so 7 days Parikshit Maharaj had, right, for hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. I mean, after 7 days, the snake will bite him. Now, who is reciting Srimad Bhagavatam? Shukadeva Goswami. Who is Shukadeva Goswami? The parrot of Radharani. Now, when Shukadeva Goswami utter Radha, what will happen is he'll go in ecstasy. Shukadeva Goswami will go unconscious. And to wake Shukadeva Goswami, it might take so many hours or days, might be. And by that time, Parikshit Maharaj, 7 days will get over. So Shukadeva Goswami purposely covered Radharani's name by saying Aradhya. There's some term comes like Aradhya. That's Radharani only. And it is said Shri Shuga Vaja. Shri is Radharani. The direct name of Radharani is not used in Srimad Bhagavatam. The reason is Shukadeva Goswami might go in ecstasy and then he may not wake up, and Parikshit Maharaj don't have much time. He has just 7 days, and to complete Srimad Bhagavatam in 7 days was his goal. So he purposely covered it. Second is Radharani is not to be exposed just like that. There are so many misunderstandings even now. When we hear it, we feel so bad that how much Radharani is misunderstood in the public. People can't understand. Radharani is not different from Krishna. It's Shakti and Shaktiman. It's sun and sunlight. There's no difference. Krishna expanded and became two. That's it. They are one and the same. The soul is the same. No, so Shukadeva Goswami don't want people to get misunderstood by Radha Tattva, and keep it very secretly. It's not mentioned everywhere. It's just the Gaudiya Vaishnavas, Prabhupada says, we follow Radharani because we understand her concept. Why did Bhagavan want to take 3 feet from Bali Maharaj through Atma Samarpan? Yeah, so Chitra Mataji, Bali Maharaj had some kind of pride in him, pride that everything belongs to me. He's asking, you take how much ever you want, 3 steps of land, ask whatever you want. And when he was offering, Bali Maharaj had this pride in him. He's coming in an Asura family. He is the grandson of Prahlad. But still, he had little pride in him, that thinking that everything belongs to him. But actually, everything belongs to Krishna, right? So he was giving charity with little bit of pride in him. So Krishna doesn't like pride in his devotees. He wants to crush the pride in Bali Maharaj. So for that, Krishna came in Vamana Dev form and asked 3 feet of land. And the first feet, he took the whole earth. Second, he took the sky. Third feet, where to keep. Now, then Bali Maharaj understood, oh, what did I do? I didn't offer myself to the Lord. And finally, he offered for the third step. Now, by pushing Bali Maharaj to Sutala Lok, which is one of the hellish planetary system, what did Krishna promise? I myself will become the doorkeeper there. So Krishna is the doorkeeper there. So that means Bali Maharaj can daily see Krishna, and that means Bali Maharaj is already liberated, and he got the greatest fortune of Krishna took away all his material things, but he gave himself to him. And it's just to show us by example that how a devotee is, how Atma Samarpan is done. Srimad Bhagavatam is completely giving us example. Krishna is teaching us through example how a devotee should be. So in Bali Maharaj's case, there's no injustice done. That is a pastime. Krishna is just showing that how great my devotee is, that material things are nothing. Bali Maharaj rejected his own guru to go near Krishna. But that pride thing was crushed. No, like Krishna lifted Govardhan hill to crush the pride of Indra. Not like that. So Krishna does some pastimes so that the pride is crushed. Gokarna and Dundakari. Rajalakshmi Mataji, thank you for remembering. So what happened? There were 2 brothers, Gokarna and Dundakari. So both are brothers, different mothers, but the father is same. Yeah. So what happened? Gokarna became a nice devotee, and he is a Bhagavatam reciter. He recites Bhagavatam. But Dundakari became so polluted that he lived in a lavish life, and he lived with prostitutes, that his life was like completely hellish. And finally, he was burned to death by the prostitutes. He could not maintain the prostitutes, and something happened that he had a very bad death. So when you have a bad death like that, definitely you don't get moksha. He became a ghost. So Dundagari became a ghost, and it's a very struggleful situation where you don't have a gross body, you have a subtle body, and you have to loiter around. So in a ghost form. So Dundagari was in a ghost form, and Gokarna, his brother, became very saintly, like a sadhu. So Dundagari in a ghost form came to his brother and said, please escape. Tell me, how can I escape from the situation? I'm in a ghost form. I want to get moksha. Now what can I do? So Gokarna said, I'm going to have Bhagavad Saptah for 7 days. Okay, 7 days there'll be Bhagavad Saptah in this place. Now what you do, you're at a ghost form, you hide in a bamboo stick. And on the 7th day, hear Bhagavatam for 7 days very carefully. On 7th day, you will get moksha. So Dundagari's aim was only to get moksha, that he went and hid in a tree, in a bamboo tree. And Gokarna started Bhagavatam recitation. Many people came and recitation was done. On the 7th day, this bamboo broke, and Dundakari got a 4-handed form to Godhead. And everyone was shocked. Hey, Dundukari, he lived such a bad life and he became a ghost and he got moksha just by hearing Bhagavatam for 7 days. So Gokarna is like, yes, that's a specialty of hearing Bhagavatam. And others are like, what about us? We also heard Bhagavatam for 7 days and we didn't get moksha. So the Gokarna said, that's the intensity of hearing. Dundukari had one desire, to get moksha. By hearing Bhagavatam, I have to get moksha. So he intensely heard Bhagavatam. Each and every word he heard carefully. But others, some were sleeping, some came only for prasad, some were saying, when will this class get over? Like many of you are thinking now. So many didn't get the real, they didn't hear Bhagavatam in the right sense. So how Dundukari heard Srimad Bhagavatam, that's the way to hear Srimad Bhagavatam. Everything, every drop of nectar has to be drunk. And there are different types of hearing. Some people just hear through one ear and just leave. Some people hear and they speak more without realizing. Some people hear and take it to the heart. So that's the right type of hearing. Okay, I think can we end if you have no other questions? Okay, I think I've taken all the questions from the chat. If you have any questions, you can raise a digital hand or we can end here. So can we all chant 3 times Hare Krishna Mahamantra for the fast recovery of Sri Lakshmi Mataji? She's a very sweet devotee. She's a great devotee and she has done a lot of service at this age to come to Krishna consciousness and this age to do a lot of service. It's not an easy thing. So Krishna said they're all Vaikuntha people. I mean, they come from previous life with so much of knowledge and so much of devotional service. At that age, what were we doing? So definitely you pray for her fast recovery. Okay, so can we all chant 3 times Hare Krishna Mahamantra and then we can end. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama. Thank you everyone for joining.
Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Anushree Mataji.
Thank you, Hare Krishna Mataji.
Kalpatarupasya Kripa Sindhubhyo Patitana Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Ananta Kodi Vaishnava Ki Jai.